All right, welcome to the Wealth Being Show. I am so excited to be here. I'm Dee Dee Kai. I'm the founder of Fit to Profit. And together we get to talk about how to generate profit, but while creating impact. And I am excited about one of our very favorite speakers today. She is a national board certified licensed acupuncturist, Chinese herbalist, and an educator. She speaks frequently on the value of understanding food as medicine from the Chinese medicine point of view on various different platforms is where you can find her. She can also be at one of your conferences, and then she teaches at universities and schools. So with me today, please welcome Ellen Goldsmith. Join us.
Thank you so much, Didi. I'm so happy to be here and talking with your community.
Yes, I'm really excited to speak with you because I feel like as much as we are I feel like we have great access, in fact, to almost everything. However, I feel like there are also other alternative, I believe, ways of taking care of our health are not really accessible. So to get you to be able to talk about what you do, and the specialize in Chinese medicine, I'm really excited to learn more. So let's start, Ellen, with why Chinese medicine? Like what got you into the work that you do today?
Well, it started a long time ago when I was a dancer and performing artist in New York City, and I just wasn't feeling great. My energy wasn't good. I was a vegetarian, but I was just kind of a lousy vegetarian, kind of snacking on little things here and there, fruits, nuts, cheese, and things like that. And a number of people said, and I was going to chiropractors, and I thought I was doing the best I could. I was exercising, I was dancing every day. I thought I was eating okay. I was going to chiropractor, but I just wasn't making progress. And a number of people said to me, "You've got to go see this woman, Shizuko Yamamoto, who was a macrobiotic teacher and a barefoot shiatsu master." Finally,
Mm.
after the sixth person told me, I went to see her, and she worked on me, and I just felt like I'd been like shot back into my body, and I felt this enormous vitality and excitement. And she told me, "You're eating too much fruit, you're not eating enough vegetables, you need to eat whole grains and beans and sea vegetables." And I just said, "Okay, whatever you say." And I started to feel better. And I came back to see her the next month, and she said to me, and again, she worked on me. I felt incredible. And I said, "Please teach me." And she said, "No, you have to go study macrobiotics." This was at the Kushi Institute back in the 80s. And anyway, on and on. I studied, I learned about the energetics of food. I learned about cooking in a whole different way than my mom and grandma had shown me. And I started to connect to my energy in a different way, and I felt better. And I started practicing shiatsu, and I just followed my curiosity. I wanted to feel good, and I wanted to do whatever it took. And so I studied shiatsu, I studied about food, I studied about Chinese medicine. I started studying with Chinese medicine doctors in New York City. I went to another acupuncturist, and he was such a beautiful human being. Every time I went, his wife would pick me up at the subway, we'd have tea. He'd read to me from the I Ching, the Book of Changes. He would treat me. I would keep feeling better and better. I wasn't like a super Marvel, comic adventure character, but I just felt good. And I started to talk about it with my friends, my colleagues in performing arts, and I ended up teaching at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts in their drama department, specifically in the experimental theater wing, because the head of the department was telling me, a lot of our young people are burning out. They're not performing well. As you, if you're in business, you have to perform well. You have to be present. You have to be focused. You have to be aware. You have to have energy. So this was a problem with freshmen, you know, students in a university. So we started this pilot program, and it really had an impact on students, and then it became a part of the program. So I really saw that, when we develop our own awareness, we focus that awareness, we build energy, our presence, it just skyrockets. And, we saw performing artists really embracing this and really benefiting from it. And it's so the story goes, I was doing shiatsu, food, all around health, and then Chinese medicine just became like the next step. And so I finally kept studying and formalized my education here in Portland, Oregon, at the College of Classical Chinese Medicine at the National University of Natural Medicine. It used to be a naturopathic college. Um, so that's the compressed story. But it just benefited me so much, and just from my enthusiasm from that, I wanted to share it with others. So I knew I had to keep studying and learning.
Yeah. So walk us through a little bit. I'm curious as well of how do you begin working with your clients or your patients? And if you could share a couple, I would say, transformations or success stories with us of the, I guess, amazing, tremendous effect of Chinese medicine and what it could do.
Well, I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and in this country, most people understand acupuncture as an option for pain relief. So a lot of people walk in my door with physical pain. But when I was working, I had a clinic with my husband, who's a naturopathic physician, and we worked with a lot of chronic pain, chronic illness, mostly GI, chronic headaches, um, gynecological issues, digestive issues, etc. So whenever I start working with someone, whatever their issue is, I ask them, what are your concerns? And I take a whole health history, and then I always ask people what their goals are. And it's always interesting to me, if someone comes to me with a chronic health issue, really serious, could be like inflammatory bowel disease or endometriosis or something where they're really suffering, and then one of their first goals is, well, I want to lose weight. And I go, okay, you know, let's put that at the back over here, because we have to get your health better. We have to get your pain levels down. Pain takes a tremendous amount of energy, whether it be physical pain from joint pain, or pain with chronic disease, or emotional pain with stress. We have to get, in Chinese medicine, we talk a lot about moving one's qi. And qi, we in this country understand it as energy. It's really more like your potential. Everyone has a certain qi, and it's how we nourish it that really, guides us in how we'll be able to use it. And we say that, one of my teachers would always say, we have to regulate your chi. We have to get you the smooth flow of chi. And when you're feeling in the groove, in the flow, and things are going really well, you're able to be creative. You're able to um, impact and make those ideas come to life, and they work. That happens in our bodies too. So, you know, we look at the goals and we try to put them in perspective, because I want people first to actually connect to feeling different, to feeling better. Because if you walk in my door and you're depressed or you're in pain, and you walk out and you're not, or you feel a little bit lighter and taller, and there's more possibility, that's really big. That's hope, and that's potential for change. So I just always try to build on what the positive things, and the little changes, and kind of helping people reconnect to themselves. So we'll do what people need first. If it's pain, we bring the pain down. If it's energy, I look at what are the obstacles to their energy. It could be food, could be stress, could be they're not sleeping, especially perimenopausal women who wake up at 3 a.m. and stay up for 2 hours. So, I try to get those goals really clear. Um, I think recently I've been working with a professional psychotherapist, and she had a lot of serious GI issues. And she's not even coming in for acupuncture. We're doing like a virtual health consult. And, I just looked at, what are her life habits? What's her activities? She's a psychotherapist. She sits all day in front of her Zoom camera talking to patients during the pandemic, right? And so we just looked at, her food, what is she eating, what are the quote obstacles to cure? Because it's not always like you don't want to add spirulina and green powder and collagen if you're eating Doritos and processed foods. We want to kind of clear that out first and then start to add things in that are beneficial. And I have to say, we just took a few things out of her diet, got her doing some regular Qigong, started really having her connect to her symptoms. And in just a few months, she's like 90% better. I'm just so happy for her. And so we keep tweaking that and working with that. I had once a young woman who came in, tremendous headaches, and a lot of them were from early childhood abuse. And she had a lot of psychological issues going on, but just through gentle work with the acupuncture, bringing her pain level down, being with her, letting things kind of unwind emotionally, getting her to a good therapist, she really, she transformed her life. And I think now she's studying to be a social worker. So, it's always great when people, I see them move more into what they want to do. I think my greatest gift is when people come to me. I've had a number of patients who've been with me, and then they go on and they become Chinese medicine practitioners or acupuncturists. So that's always a thrill, like when it's almost like you're mentoring, but you're not. You're just by example, but through experience. And so those are always very, very satisfying.
Amazing. So, Ellen, what do you think the future of Chinese medicine or the future of I want to say alternative medicine? I want to hear your take on that.
It's so complicated. On one level, when I started, it was really way over to the side here. And, we've seen a lot more acceptance. I mean, I have colleagues working in research hospitals. There are pain clinics in Harvard, Deaconess Hospital. I mean, a lot of Chinese medicine are in hospitals. Cleveland Clinic has an herbal pharmacy. These are all really wonderful, wonderful signs. Naturopathic physicians who, when I first started, they were licensed in 11 states. They're now licensed in 25 states. This is really progress.
Yep.
At the same time, we see schools, medical schools having integrative medicine programs. The concern I have with those is that those integrative medicine programs aren't in depth in the way that we go to school. I mean, when I went to school, it was 3,500 hours. It's 4 years. It's 1,500 hours of internship under a Chinese medicine doctor. We really learn our work. We learn the foundations, the philosophical foundations. We learn the different aspects of Chinese medicine, which include herbal medicine, Qigong, which is basically literally means Qi work, but it's all about building your own vitality so you can help others heal and yourself too. And so I'm concerned, the integrated medicine schools, they give you kind of how to maybe utilize this or how to use this for that and all of that. But I think, the more we get it into the mainstream, the better. But we're still, in the insurance world, not looked at as equals. And that's always troubling because I don't think it's one or the other. I think that we do both. Western medicine has at its fingertips a lot to help save lives, to access diagnosis, etc. But I think our medicine, well-trained Chinese medicine practitioners, well-trained naturopathic physicians, can offer a collaborative approach to help people move in the direction my husband worked very closely with gastroenterologists,
Mhm.
very, very complex inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, etc. And sometimes the gastroenterologist would send them to him. They say, "Well, go to Gary, because I don't know what to do with you." And I think that's important. I think we all have our limits. I mean, I know when I have to refer out, um, but I hope, and in this fractured world where there's so many silos and polarities, that we can become a more collaborative medicine,
Yeah.
working from all angles to really help our patients um, heal. And sometimes healing is not cure, but healing is learning how to manage one's health, one's
Yes.
illness, how to work with one's stress, how to know what to eat that makes you feel better, and knowing when you eat certain things that make you feel worse, maybe you don't want to eat those things because you really do want to feel better. Um, so, I'm hopeful, and I kind of look at it from the side and go, oh, I hope so. you know.
Yes, it's almost like just like how Chinese medicine is very holistic, and we're looking at from every angle. You're really looking at the whole system from that perspective as well. Is that we get to still keep what's really working in terms of the testing and the things in the conventional or the Western side of things, but we get to really incorporate what's great in the Eastern medicine and our Chinese medicine specifically too.
Yeah.
So I love it all. I feel very I think really honored just to know that there are doctors or practitioners like yourself out there. Like I said, like alternative medicine is not very mainstream, and so content like this is not always readily available out there. And so last but not least, Ellen, how can the audience find you, and if you have any last minute parting remarks of how can one take charge of themselves and really being that stands for what they want to create in the world.
You know, the reason I really got into food and I wrote my book, Nutritional Healing with Chinese Medicine, was because Chinese medicine is, even though it originated in China, we can read those texts, it's codified, it's still there. You know, it's rooted in nature. And and nature, needs us right now. The planet needs us to
Yes.
pay attention, right? And part of that is the way we interact with nature every single day is first through the air we breathe, and then through the food we eat. So there's nothing more powerful than finding the way to eat that sustains our health, that improves our well-being, that puts us in tune with our season and our climate, etc. So wait a minute, I'm getting off here on something. So I just think that I want to say to everyone that you can manage your health and well-being. You can improve the way you feel, and you can take small steps, and and use yourself like a laboratory. Like, oh, that makes me feel better. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to drink smoothies and have these vitamins, et cetera, et cetera. We have to find something that sustains us. And I always say, the vegetable and the dish that's good for you today may not be the same for you in 5 years, because we change. And so we can adapt and change the way we feel, um, and really optimize our our energy and our connection to ourselves so that we can connect to our work and then to others. In theater, we always said first connect to the character within, then connect to the material, and then connect that material to the greater audience. And that's what a great performance is, right? In theater, you need great work first. So I really, I've seen people change. I've changed, and I just think we can't do it alone, and
Mhm.
it's always good to have someone to help and guide you, and support you
Yes,
in that process.
that's it. How can we get your guidance? How can the audience
Oh
find
yeah,
you?
You can reach me through my website, pearlnaturalhealth.com, and you'll see a contact area there for me. My email is lng@pearlnaturalhealth.com. I'm on Facebook at Nutritional Healing with Chinese Medicine, on Instagram at Goldsmith Ellen. Those are kind of my two social media areas that I work, or LinkedIn through Ellen Goldsmith. So, please be in touch. I also teach seasonal health class, and that's coming up. It's, if you look on my website, you'll see at the top winter class, and you can sign up for that. It's very reasonable, and you'll be able to ask questions. You'll get a recording of the class and plus notes. So you're going to get a lot of practical information, and also learn about Chinese medicine if you're interested. So I hope you can join me. If you can't, in January, I'm having a happen every season. So there'll be one in February to celebrate the beginning of spring, as we talk about in Asian culture, the new year and that transition to spring, summer, fall, all of that. So, and then my book, you can always get my book on Amazon or at your independent local bookstore. So I hope to hear from you.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you so much for your share and for what you do. And it was an honor to have this conversation with you and learn more about what's possible for us to really take care of ourselves and be healthy and well. And I wish you a happy holidays. Thank you so much.
I do too, Dee Dee. Thank you so much for bringing me on and for what you do too.
Thank you.